Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Compass. This is our weekly devotion here at Cornerstone United Methodist Church in Oklahoma City. So glad that you turn in again to listen and watch this devotion. We are still in our devotion series called Rekindle. And today we want to focus on compassion. It comes from Luke chapter 10, verse 13. I'm reading from the New American Standard Bible. But a Samaritan who was on a journey came upon him, and when he saw him, he felt compassion. The word compassion means to suffer with. Throughout his ministry, Jesus involved himself in the suffering of others. Jesus fed the hungry, healed the sick, and taught the ignorant. He put his hand out and touched the lepers. Even Sunday school children know the shortest verse in the Bible, Jesus wept, which reminds us that Jesus not only saw, but entered into sorrows for others. My friends, compassion feels something. That's what this verse is helping us to understand. Luke chapter 10, verse 33. Compassion feels something. Compassion feels something. This Samaritan had compassion. Some translation says pity, or his heart went out to him, because we know the story so well. We miss the impact of these words. It would even be shocking for the hearers of this story if Jesus had told the people this injured man was helped by just an ordinary Jewish man and not the two religious men. But to go on and say that it was not even a Jew helping in the story, but rather a Samaritan helping a Jew who had been ignored by his fellow Jews. This would have been understood as outrageous by his hearers. To the hearers of Jesus, the words good and Samaritan did not even go together. They were seen as oppositions. Such was the hatred at this time in history. The hatred between Jews and Samaritans had gone on for hundreds of years and is still seen in the tensions between Israel and Palestine today. The passage says that when he saw him, when the Samaritan saw this man who was robbed and beaten and left to die by the wayside, he felt compassion. The Greek word used here for compassion is splenchenosoma. It's a very vivid one. It comes from a word that refers to the intestines. In other words, he was moved in his deepest part. When the Samaritan saw the dying man lying in agony beside the road. His heart and mind and very being was so stirred up within him that it was impossible for him to pass by without helping. That's the way real compassion affects us. It stirs us. It troubles us. It keeps us awake at night until we do something. That's the question I have for us today. When were you last stirred up by compassion to do something? If you cannot remember, perhaps we need to spend some time reflecting before the Lord and ask Him to refresh us and fill us with compassion for a needed and dying world, and even for a needed and dying community here around us. Real compassion affects us, but also real compassion makes us to feel something deep within us for those who are hurting and for those who are in need of God's grace in their lives. That's the church we must be. Those are the believers we should be. People filled with compassion for others. Real compassion affects us. Real compassion makes us to feel something deep on the inside of us, and to prompt us to do something for someone who is in need of God's grace and God's mercy. Can you pray this prayer with me? Dear Lord, I claim the promise that you will move me with compassion, just as the certain Samaritan was moved when he saw the wounded man on the road. Help me to be aware of the needs of those around me and to respond with love and kindness. May I be a vessel of your mercy and grace, showing compassion to those who are hurting and in need. Thank you for your faithfulness and for empowering me to be a blessing to others. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. My brothers and sisters, as you go about your day today and the rest of your life, I want you to hear me say this to us. Compassion is not something that we talk about. Compassion is something that we feel, and compassion is something that we go about doing when it comes to what we are feeling. That's real compassion. It stirs us up to do something. May God bless you. May you be stirred up. May you be filled with compassion for those who are in need. I look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday, but until then, be filled with God's compassion. God bless you. Amen.